Hey guys, it's Batman Marc from Nerds in a Bar here at EternalCon 2022 with one of the most important people in my life.
Aww.
The daughter of Neal Adams, Zeea Adams.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we've been like cooped up with COVID and like hiding out like hermits.
Exactly. And it's been real interesting to finally get back to a real con again.
Yeah, I was nervous as hell, man. I had knots in my stomach the 2 days before the start day. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk in there. I haven't seen anybody in ages.
But you came.
Yeah, no.
You saw and you conquered.
Once I walked through the doors, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm home again. This is like, these are my people, and everybody's been like super nice and really friendly, and you came to see me, and I freaking love the mustache.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, it's actually been great, and now I feel like, okay, now I feel like I can do some more shows.
I want to ask you a couple of questions. We're going to touch on some, sad subjects. We know.
Yes.
We know about Dad's passing this past April.
Yes.
And how have you guys been managing running the studio?
Well, it's kind of been all hands on deck, because we really did not think he was going to go, especially the week right before he passed, because he was upbeat, he was enthusiastic, he was positive, he was energetic. He's like, yeah, this time there's no more going to the hospital and stuff like that. And then his blood sugars went down. We couldn't get it back up, and we really thought it was just going to be a maintenance visit to the hospital, and we were going to be in and out.
He was there for how long?
It wasn't the thing. He'd been in and out of the hospital just, trying to sort out all of the problems, because it wasn't just one thing, and I don't think we found everything, but we did it. I mean, Marilyn never left his side. Chris was on the, if she wasn't there with them, she was on the phone anytime a doctor walked in the door. He was home, then he was back in the hospital, then he was home, then he was back. And every time he came out, we thought, okay, we're good. And especially the last time, because it was just, and he left me a particular little gift before he went.
Oh, really?
Yes, he opened a Pandora's box of art ideas in my head. Now I can't talk to him about it, so it's like I have this bee's nest in my head. I don't even know where to begin. Wow. But thankfully enough, he and I had started One Piece while he was home.
That was really cool.
Yep, so we're going to see what happens with that. That may lead into more, but I'll have to wait until we find out.
Is that going to be a published piece down the road?
That's what the hope is, is that it's going to be published.
And that would be for DC Comics.
That would be for DC, because, the family has always done stuff for Marvel, but we're kind of DC babies.
Yeah.
That would really be a game changer for me, and then that will open up a whole bunch of opportunities for me to continue what Dad started in my head.
You grew up as, the daughter of an artist, and did you run to it with open arms, or did you kind of like step back from it and go, not my cup of tea right away, and then fall back into it?
No, I can't honestly say how much is nature and how much is nurture, because if you grow up surrounded by comic artists, not likely you're going to grow up to be a brain surgeon. Maybe if you're Bernie Wrightson's kid, and then you got the whole Frankenstein thing going on. But, so I can't say how much is which, but we all seem to be able to do it, whichever way it goes. And there was a little while I decided I was going to be an actor, and Jason did as well.
Okay.
And that just got a bit weird, and they were like, no, we're going to go back to the comic stuff. Yeah, no, that's just, no.
You've been professionally doing artwork for how long? Yourself?
Gosh. I don't know. See, it's hard. Well, the first time I ever colored anything, I had to have been 18 or 19.
Okay.
Mom was coloring something. I couldn't tell you which project it was. And So I started coloring with her because we were on a tight deadline. And this was back when we were hand coloring everything with paints and brushes. And here's the thing I never understood about back then. The pencilers and inkers could work 11 by 17, but the colorists had to work printed page size. So I had to learn to color teeny, tiny, and get all the little details in there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So the black and whites were all 11 by 17. No,
11 by 17.
17s.
Right.
And then you got the printed copies in black and white that you then had to color in?
Well, we did blue lines.
Right.
So it would be a blue line with the acetate overlay of the black line over it so you could see where it goes. But yeah, it was printed page size.
8.5 by 11 was a regular. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why my glasses are so thick. I had to get in there, get those details in there. I got to get the stripes on Tyra, whatever. So yeah, that was probably about when I was 19. But then things started going digital. But it went digital with advertising first, with animatics, and we kind of pioneered a special way of doing the animatics, so Dad didn't have to draw as much. Because the fewer drawings that he had to do, the happier he was. So I had to learn to use a program called Elastic Reality, which was the program that they used in the Michael Jackson video Black and White. Okay. So he would turn his head and morph into another person, turn his head and morph into another person. That software was not meant to do what we did with it. Okay. And when I hit a trouble spot, I actually called up the company. I said, okay, I'm trying to do a profile to a front on, and it's working, but I'm getting these streaks across it. What do I do? And there was silence on the other end of the phone. And the guy goes, you can do that? And I was like, okay, let me send you some files because your software can do more than what you think you can do.
So you opened up a new gateway for them that they had no idea.
Well, you know, I have to say it was Dad's brainchild. I may have been the hands that made it happen, but it was really his brainchild. I mean, he never actually really did anything on the computer himself, except for one time I was showing him how to move continents, but that was short-lived because he forgot to save and it would crash on him and he got over it really quick. But he if you could explain to him how the software worked and he could understand it, he had this way of saying, well, if you can do A and you can do B, then logically you can do C. And I'd be like, no, it doesn't do that, Dad. And he could just try it. And I would go, damn it, it did it. He was right again.
You know, my father passed a year and a half ago, and I still, to this day, will like, damn it, Dad, you were right.
But the crazy thing about Dad was, like, he was right about things like, how do you even know about that? It's like, oh, I read it somewhere, and then I studied it. And it's like, he studied religion, it was planets, it was continental drift, and then he got into cryptids towards the end, and we were like, okay, Dad, you're doing Sasquatch. Can we be done now?
That's great.
They already think you're a kook already, so let's do Sasquatch.
Dad worked for DC Comics for approximately how many years?
Oh, I have no... He always worked for DC. I mean, as soon as once he started working for DC, it was sort of in and out. And Dad liked to weave. You know, it's wherever the money was. Right. You know, wherever.
That's with most artists.
But it was also where the projects were, where they weren't going to impede him as much.
Right.
Which is partly why he had done the X-Men that he did, because he had gone in and they wanted him to work for them. They go, what title do you want? And he was like, well, what titles are you canceling? Because he didn't want anybody to tell him what to do. If you're going to cancel a book, you're not really going to care what he does with it.
Right. Good point. Wow.
So they said, well, this title, and X-Men, because, you know, we killed off Professor Xavier. We're kind of scattering the characters to the four winds. So, yeah, and that one, Dad goes, okay, I'll take that one. So he brings Xavier back, pulls the team together, creates Sauron, and, like, all of this stuff happens, and suddenly X-Men is cool again. And, we're not...
Dad created Lost Worlds?
Well, I don't know if he created Lost Worlds, but they had wanted to do a vampire kind of character.
Okay.
But they were not allowed to do blood.
Right.
So Dad came up with the idea of an energy vampire,
That's awesome.
and hence Sauron. I don't know the details of it. I don't know who created which part of it. I couldn't go into that for you. I was getting there used to be a time I was accused of pretending to be Dad's daughter, and then they would go, okay, well, which issue of this did he do in this year and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know. And they go, see, you're not his daughter. I'm like, I think it's more proof that I am his daughter that I don't know. Because if I was uber Neal Adams fan, I would know these things.
Exactly.
But yeah,
That's funny.
I'm a Dad fan.
That's it.
Yeah, I love Dad's work. A total respect for Dad's work. I'm a Dad fan.
Is there anything on the horizon for you coming up?
I'm on the precipice of, is it going to happen or is it not? And so if it happens, boy, am I going to have my work cut out for me. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to have my work cut out for me because I got to come up with an alternate solution.
I do notice that you're doing a lot of Betty Boop lately.
Yes.
Is that something that you've always had an affection for? Because I've always loved Betty Boop. I mean, I remember watching her as a cartoon character in Little Black and White.
Yeah.
And then I just got fascinated with that character. So what turned you on and how did you get started with Betty Boop?
Well, first off, what's not to like about Betty Boop? Because, I mean, you can put her in pretty much any situation and she works.
Exactly.
But what really kicked it off was, I guess it was 94. I was hired by King Features to do the coloring for the landmark calendars. So I did 95, 96, 97, 98, and 2000. I got to do the Millennium calendar. I was like, yes. And at one point I kind of got, sorry guys, I kind of got bored of the same licensing art coming up and having to pick stuff that's been done before to color new. So I went to Joel, my brother, and I said, Joel, can you do me some drawings of Betty Boop just in different situations? Because I'm doing the same stuff. I'll submit it to my guy over at King Features, see if he'll do it. So Joel, being Joel, did something a bit too risque for landmark characters.
Okay.
Because that's Joel. So I was like, well, thank you, Joel. I appreciate that. But then that became Joel's Lil's characters, which after he started showing those around, suddenly Monster High came out, which looked an awful lot like Joel's Lil's.
But it wasn't
Because he
Joel's
started, Joel. It wasn't Joel's work. No. And I tell you, some of the designs would have been cooler if they'd have gone with Joel's stuff.
That's wild.
Because they didn't reel back on the sexiness for 16-year-olds in high school. So, you might as well run with Joel if you're going to do that. Joel is out in California running our Krusty Bunkers store.
Okay.
Jason is focusing on his sculptures at spidacreations.com.
So you're all artists.
Well, Chris would say that she's not an artist.
Okay.
But boy, her creativity when it comes to dealing with, DC and Marvel and contracts and stuff like that. If I was either one of them, I would want Chris on my team because I'd be like, be on my team, not on somebody else's team because I don't want to have to fight you ever, And the smartest thing any up-and-coming artist can do before they sign a contract is run it past Chris.
There you go.
Yeah.
So she's pimping out her sister, guys. If you want,
I'll
she'll
pimp
be able.
about anybody in my family. They're all, yeah.
No, it's good to have that as backup all the time.
Sure. Oh, sure. I mean,
Blood is thicker than water.
there is that. That is very true. And she'll probably kill me later. She'll be like, I've got all these artists calling me. I'm like, too bad. But she's good at what she does. I mean, she's brilliant. She side by side ran things with Dad.
But you
Well,
all
thank you.
are. Everybody has their niche, and you each fill your own niche very well.
I appreciate that. I mean, Dad's shoes are really big to fill.
Don't try to fill Dad's shoes.
And I couldn't if I wanted to, So I'm just trying to find, okay, what now is my place in a world without Neal Adams?
He's going to be with you. And it's a matter of just taking that and thinking about what he would say. And
Yes.
doing what you want to do with him in the back of your head.
And yet still making it my own.
Exactly. And you've been doing that very well. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Your dad was part of my growing up, my childhood.
Mine too.
Absolutely. For Nerds in a Bar, with Neal Adams'
Nerds and
beautiful
more!
daughter, Zeea Adams. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Nerds in a Bar.
Bye, guys.